in-law's bedroom sitting in a chair there, and Judy was fixing my hair. Gary came in and sat down on the bed. And I didn't know him very well, but I said to him, I said, Gary, I said, do you have any idea what you're getting into? I said, do you realize this is the baby of a family that came into another family? I said, so she's the baby of two families, and we've all babied her and spoiled her rotten. And he said, I know it. I said, are you prepared for this? And he said, yeah. And you know, that's a wonderful thing I can say to my brother-in-law, is he's just spoiled her just as rotten as we have, and probably more so, and it's wonderful. And I'm so glad that we have them both in the family. They're both very special, and I'm just so glad that today we have to celebrate. When you look in the newspapers, it doesn't take very long to see how many marriages do not make it. But I'm so glad to see them so much still in love, and it's beautiful. And thank all of you today for coming.
All right, they give me a list, but I'm bigger than each and every one of them, so I'm going to change it just a little bit. I'd like for Marcus to come up here and say something about Mom and Daddy real quick. Now don't get all that, and don't be like Matt.
I don't know what to say.
He said it.
Well, I guess all I can say is I love them just like everybody else does. I hope. I'm the baby. I'm not the only one that's spoiled. No, Mama's spoiled. Dad too. I understand that. I know how she feels being the baby of the family. But I know how it feels to be beat up by big brothers and sisters too. But I also know whenever they come after you, you holler Mama. They stop real quick.
That's the other house cat.
But I just want to get up here and tell them I love them. And I hope they know that.
We do. Okay, now it's JoJo's turn. And he's always going to be JoJo too, whether he wants to or not.
Well, if he's the house cat of the family, I guess I'm the black sheep. But, yes, I am.
You're the black cat.
But I guess about the only thing I can say is that they made me what I am. You can hear me. And like little Matt's always telling everybody, they made me a Keene boy, and I'm proud of it. Real proud.
All right, and now it's Matthew's turn. Maybe we ought to have prayer real quick. No, he'll behave.
And Gio's an optimist.
Well, Joe, I think I got the corner on the black market, the black sheep. But I feel sorry for all of y'all. I really do. Because I just happen to have the best mom and daddy in the world. And y'all can't have them. Took them 21 years to get me to where I am. They've done a fine job, I think. Hello? I couldn't ask for no better. That's it.
That's the first time I've ever seen Matthew at a loss for words. I'm proud of all my brothers too. I say that. And then I'm gonna add a couple more to it. There's a couple of, actually there's more than a couple surrogate children, if you want to call them that, adopted children of mom and daddy's. But I'm gonna ask a couple of them to come up here and say something about them. The first one I'm going to ask to come up here is Shannon Stanley.
She can take my place. She probably do it better.
For the last 2 weeks of what they've been to me. And I'm going to be as bad as Matthew. I'm not going to be able to talk. They've been as Mama said, they've been a really good example of what a marriage is supposed to be, of what parents are supposed to be to their children. I love you both. I appreciate what you've been to me. I appreciate the way that you love each other. I appreciate the example that you've been. We've had good times and bad times, and I remember she used to leave me to babysit the kids, and that was a joke. Because I didn't babysit, we all just played together, Shannon and Sean, and all four of Judy's kids and me, and boy, we'd have a ball. She'd say, Michelle, please don't let them just completely destroy the house today, and she'd come home at 4 o'clock, and it would be destroyed. We climbed out the front window in the old house. She'd come home from work, and we were all on the roof. She's like, Michelle, you're supposed to be watching the kids. You're not supposed to be one of them. I said, well, I'm watching them. They're all safe and sound, and they've had food today. It was the truth. We had fun, didn't we? We played cops and robbers, and, you know, I was just one of them. I'm thankful for all those good times that we had, and I love you both.
73, 5 years old.
77.
I remember that.
It's,
Get in the microphone.
how come you didn't ask me that I was going to be doing this?
Get in the microphone.
You can hear me if you listen.
We can't hear you.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Well, they've just been just like a second mom and dad to me. They've been there to listen to me if I've ever had any problems. I just really don't know what to say. They've always been there. GL, me and him's been pretty close ever since we were 5 years old, I guess. And they just like a second family. I appreciate it.
Coming out here again to help us honor my mom and dad, and it is an honor to celebrate 25 years together from their generation and ours too. But some people have been married 50 years and 75 years and what have you. But for 25 years for this couple together, they have overcome some insurmountable odds to even be together. Grandma can't be here today because of obvious reasons, but if she was here today, I believe that she'd approve of Daddy this time. A lot of people don't know that Grandma didn't care too much for Daddy when they first started dating. But when Grandma passed away, she thought Daddy hung the moon. And I do too. But I wish that Grandma and Grandpa could be here, and Grandpa Keene and everybody, but they can't. But we can, and I just want to tell them that I love them, and I've been blessed by God to have the best set of parents that anybody could ever have. I love my mom and daddy more than anything. And, you know, a lot of times, even now, I'm grown and I'm living on my own. And sometimes Amanda gets frustrated with me for it. But I still look to please my mom and daddy. You know, I want to do what mom and daddy want me to do. And they still try to keep tabs on me. You know, if we're out of pocket, Daddy wants to know what's the matter. And I don't resent that at all. I'm proud for it. I'm glad for it. I just want to say that I love them both very, very much. And we're about to overcome the biggest, against all odds, that they've had to face. And nobody's mentioned it since I've been up here. But I stood in a room with Mama and Aunt Tina and Matthew and myself. And we saw a doctor tell us that our daddy had cancer. And, you know, we would have had this celebration even if Daddy wasn't sick. But it's drawn us so much closer, you know. And I hate really bad that Daddy's had to suffer like this. But this will be a chance for people that don't know to really see what this family is made of. We love our daddy more than anything. And if by some stretch of the imagination, the good Lord sees fit to take my daddy home, in the 23 years that I've had him for a daddy, in the 25 years that Mama's had him for a husband, there'll never, ever be anybody that can ever hold a candle to my daddy. Somebody told me one time that I'd never be half the man my daddy is. If I make it to be half the man my daddy is, I'll consider myself a success. Mama and Daddy, I love you all both more than anything in this world. I just want to let you know that. I can't even express myself. But irregardless of what happens, y'all have been the very best parents that I could ever possibly have hoped for. If I could live my life over and pick my parents, I couldn't do any better. I love you both. I love everybody that's come out today. I thank you. Well, I hate that I stand up here and get like this, but when I think about my folks, I get emotional. You know, even sometimes I'm by myself, I catch myself that way. I have been blessed, and I really wish that all of you could at some time experience the kind of family that we've had. We have broken out windows, we have broken furniture, we have tore up Mama's house. And we've done, all of us have done things we shouldn't have done, disappointed Mom and Daddy. But Daddy told me one time that he's the best friend that I'll ever have. And that was the truth. Daddy always told us when we go out somewhere, boys, remember who you are. Remember what you are. And there's been many times that would flash through my head when I was about to step off the track, do something I shouldn't do, that I disappointed my daddy. I never want to do that. I always want to brag on them and tell the truth about them, because that'd be bragging, and it ain't bragging if it's the truth. I love my mom and daddy, and then if anybody else wants to say something, they're more than welcome. So I think, okay, as soon as Uncle James wants to speak, and then we'll have one more after him.
Well, I guess all of you know that long before they had any of these knuckleheads, they had me to deal with, so I trained them pretty good to deal with these boys. I lived with them when they was newlyweds. Long before this one back here. As a matter of fact, I was his first babysitter. That's what happened to him. And we lived way up in the hills in Kentucky too, and there wasn't nobody around to see what I did to you, boy. Anyway, I tell you the kind of people they've always been to me, and I can just tell you one of my little incidents. I've had a lot. They know. I was hitchhiking across the country, and I got picked up by a man. And as soon as I got in the car, he pulled a gun on us. And he'd been shot in the side, and he said, "I need some money." Well, we didn't have any money. And he said, "I'm going to take you to get some money, and you better get a hold of somebody that can get you some money, or I'm going to kill your brother." And the only people I could think of calling was Judi and Gary. I called them up middle of the night, and we was way across the country. And this man was trying to get to Chicago with a bullet hole in him. And he said, after I got a hold of him and I told him, I said, the man wants you to leave some money in the envelope on the front porch, and if it's not there, he's gonna do something with us. And I went back and I told him that they said that they would leave him some money to get on down the road. And he said, if the money's not there, there's going to be a problem. And I said, there's not going to be a problem because that money will be there. And when we pulled up there and I got out of that car, I knew it was there. I went on up to the thing, and there it was, and he let us go. That's the kind of people they are. And they've always been that way to me. And I love them, and they know I love them to death. They've always been there for me. And I try to always be there for them.
And the next speaker will be the next to the last one. There'll be one more. The next person that's going to speak about Mom and Daddy is the man that tied the knot in the beginning for him, is Brother McKeene.
I'd like to say this afternoon we've enjoyed the meal today. All the iced tea and things we've had. Maybe someone had to have a little praise for doing that. But we do thank God for people like Brother Gary and Judy, church, been faithful over the years. It seems like we go to church without Brother Gary and Sister Judy setting the building. The congregation lately, we miss them greatly when they're not there. And many times we've asked Brother Gary to help us, working on the building and doing different things around the church. And I have to say very truthfully this afternoon, he's always been willing to do something and work. And there's one thing about it I noticed, he likes to work and do some things for the Lord. That's great. He's got a lot of folks like to do things for praise and glory of man. But I believe one of the greatest honor and the greatest praise we can ever have is to say we love the Lord. And I believe I can say truly today that I believe Brother Gary does love the Lord. And a lot of time when I maybe want a special speaker, when he's able and embodied, I would call him up and I said, like to preach for us, maybe mention Sunday school or we left to go home. And I don't know of any time he's ever refused. I think that's a great report. That people are willing to do something, work for God and preach. And whatever God lays on his heart to preach to us, he's always done that. And I will say I've saw many times when he preached, he helped us with problems. And I'm sure every church and every pastor has a certain amount of problem, but I feel like the most time when he get up to preach is something the Lord has given him. And I do thank God for Brother and Sister Keene today. Praise God. And just give me the privilege to say what I feel. And I want to say something else to Brother Gary, that I looked at that picture over there. I wonder if we get an enlargement of that. Praise God. Praise God. Back 25 years ago, and I was about 41 or 42 years old, and I had black hair. Praise God. And I want to say something else, that I was outside before I came in, and his brother-in-law from around Piedmont, Raymond Dodd. He said, now, they don't want me to speak because I know too much.
He's telling the truth, too.
I'm not going into details on that. He didn't tell me anything, but I just wondered about it, so I'm going to keep on wondering.
We all love Brother McKinney. He's been a help to our family. All righty. I didn't follow their instructions too good, I don't think. I may get run out on a rail, but they got something else here that says, one thing I can't read, another one says cut the cake. But,
supposed to have a song.
oh, we'll have a song directly. We're going to let the best man in the house speak now. That's my daddy.
is the best man in the house. Now, some time back I might have contended for that. But there was a man named Lou Gehrig. He was probably one of the best baseball players of either league. And he came down with a disease called, now they call it Lou Gehrig's disease. It's a fatal disease. But he stood one day at home plate in Yankee Stadium in New York. And they were having a going away ceremony for him because he was unable to play ball anymore. He had to retire. And as he stood there, he looked at the fans, and he looked at his friends, and he looked at his family. And he made a statement that I want to echo today. He was just about, as a matter of fact, he died just a few months later, or a year or so later, of this Lou Gehrig's disease. But he made the statement standing on home plate at Yankee Stadium. He said, "I feel like I'm the luckiest man alive. With friends and family like you, I can honestly say, I feel like the luckiest man alive." You people have been friends to me when I know I wasn't very likable. I know what I was. There were times when I didn't even like myself. But God has been good to me. He's given me a wonderful home, a wonderful wife, 4 sons, and He's allowed us the opportunity to be a part of Michelle.